Hey everyone, welcome. Today, we're going to look at a few simple phrases that can make a huge difference in how natural your English sounds. Seriously, it's a small tweak with a big payoff.
So, let me ask you something. Do you want your English to sound more, well, fluent? Of course you do, right? It's pretty much the #1 goal for anyone learning a language. But what's the secret to getting there?
Well, here's a little secret for you. It's not always about burying yourself in grammar books. Nope. Sometimes the fastest shortcut to sounding like a native is just mastering a few really common, really powerful patterns. And today, we're going to focus on some super useful ones that start with there is no or it is no.
All right, first up, let's talk about those times when you just want to say something is completely pointless. You know the feeling. Here are the go-to phrases for that.
Okay, so at first glance, there's no point and it is no use look pretty much the same, right? But there's a subtle but really important difference. There is no point is all about logic when doing something just doesn't make sense. On the other hand, it is no use is what you say when you're frustrated, usually because you've already tried and failed.
So for example, picture this. You're waiting for a bus, and it's already like 30 minutes late. You might just decide, you know what, there's no point waiting any longer. And you start walking. That's a logical choice, right? It just doesn't make sense to keep waiting.
But now, let's change it up. Imagine you already called the bus company yesterday to complain about the schedule, and absolutely nothing changed. Today, you might tell your friend, it was no use complaining. See that shift? This one is packed with that feeling of a failed effort. I tried, and it was totally useless.
Okay, moving on. Next up, we have a set of phrases for when you need to state the obvious. You know, confirming something that everyone already knows or can clearly see.
So here are 3 key phrases, and you can see they all follow a similar pattern. Now, it is no secret is super common, but for this explainer, I really want to zoom in on the other 2, because they show a fantastic contrast. We have the more conversational, it is no wonder, and the much more formal, even argumentative, there is no denying. It's all about the context.
So let's tackle the first one. When you say it is no wonder, you're really just saying, yeah, that's not surprising at all. You're basically connecting a cause with a very expected result. It makes perfect sense.
For example, if you know your friend didn't crack a book for their big test, you might say, well, it's no wonder she failed the exam. The outcome was totally predictable. No surprise there.
Now, there is no denying. This one is a lot stronger. It's a heavy hitter. You pull this one out when you want to state something as an absolute, undeniable fact. Something that really no reasonable person could disagree with.
You might be talking about a musician or sports star, and even if you're not a fan of their personality, you might have to say, look, there's no denying that he's talented. His skill, that's just a fact. It's not up for debate.
All right, let's switch gears a bit. We've talked about futility and facts, so how about we move on to something a little more positive? This next group of phrases is perfect for giving gentle advice and reassuring people.
There is no harm in, I love this one. It's such a gentle, encouraging way to suggest something. It basically says, hey, trying this won't cause any problems, so why not give it a shot? It's all about removing the fear of trying.
And this is the classic example, right? Your friend is super nervous about asking for a pay raise. You can give them a little nudge by saying, hey, there's no harm in asking. What's the worst that can happen? They say no? It just makes the whole thing feel less risky.
Okay, our next phrase is all about power and momentum. When you say there's no stopping someone or something, you're painting a picture of an unstoppable force, something that just can't be held back.
And this is often used in a really positive, motivational way. You think about that super determined person in your life, a friend, a coworker, and you say, wow, there's no stopping her when she makes up her mind. It's a huge compliment, showing admiration for their drive.
All right, we've got one last very useful phrase for our toolkit. This one is for all those times when the future is just a total question mark. You simply have no idea what's going to happen next. So, there is no telling. This is your go-to phrase for unpredictability. It literally means it's impossible to know. You use it when the situation is wide open and anything could happen.
Think about watching a thriller. There's that one character who is just completely unpredictable. You might turn to the person next to you and whisper, man, there's no telling what he'll do next. It really captures that feeling of suspense.
Okay, we have covered a ton of ground, from things that are pointless to things that are uncertain. So let's wrap this up by putting it all together into a simple plan you can start using, like, right now.
So, here's your action plan. It's super simple. First, remember the pattern. Most of these phrases are followed by a verb with ing. Easy. Second, think about them in groups based on what they mean. If you're feeling frustrated, your brain should go to, it's no use. If you want to encourage someone, there's no harm in. And third, and this is the most important part, just start using one. Pick one phrase from today and try it.
Because really, there's no stopping you now. You've got the tools. All that's left is to start using them. So my question to you is, which phrase will you try first? Thanks for joining me on this explainer,